everyone, this is Sasha from Women's Fight News, sponsored by Champions Memorabilia, and I am soon to be joined by Susie as usual. This week we're just going to run through some of the fights. There was a good few fights on this weekend, which was great. We've got some fights coming up next weekend, of course, and a couple more topics. Susie was lucky enough to speak to Eddie Hearn this week in the fight build-up, and I know she got a couple of bits of information that'll be great to talk about, including Katie Taylor and what's next for Katie as well. Now, with the fights that we had on, we had the Boxer show that was in Cardiff, and it saw both Skye Nicolson and Monique Bux in that fight. One was more successful than the other. If you've watched that fight, of course, Skye went 4-0 in just 91 days, which is absolutely incredible. I think, she ended up mentioning that she was feeling pretty tired, which is definitely fair enough. And then we have Monique Bux as well, who maybe didn't go as plain sailing, we can say, but we will talk about that in a little bit more detail. So I'm just going to add Susie on.
Hey.
How are we?
Good. You?
Good, not bad. So you had a good weekend. Yours was more fun than mine because you got to, obviously you were in Cardiff ringside.
Yes, yeah, it was brilliant. It was such a great atmosphere. Like, for the home fighters, obviously Joe Cordina being from Cardiff, it was just such an atmosphere. And obviously we had Monique Bux, who's a Cardiff fighter, who was out first. And to be honest, I've never seen such a great reception for a first fight. Quiet, and they gave us such a reception.
I was going to say, just watching on TV, you could hear how busy it was straight away. And then I text you and I was like, oh my God, like you can tell like there's loads of people there, because so many times I get there at like, say, 4:45, 5 o'clock. And sometimes you feel like you're the only person there. There's like a handful of people dotted around. This seemed like there was such a great atmosphere for her. So we know she's a ticket seller.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and it was great because like you had the really rowdy crowds that already chanting and banging their feet, and so unfortunately the decision didn't go away because she didn't fight the best. I don't think we saw the best of what she can do. She admits she feels like she froze. So unfortunately it didn't go away, but I'm hopeful that with with the learning from it, then we can see her come again, because like you said, she's got the full support. She's got a great trainer in Tony Borg. But I just feel like it became apparent that she hasn't had that experience. She's had no real amateur experience, and she's learning, and that learning fight happened on a DAZN show.
I mean, I was quite critical when I watched it, but maybe I was just being a bit grumpy anyway in general. But I watched it and I was a little bit critical because I thought, not because she froze and things like that, but I just thought, gosh, she's a far way away from where I think she needs to be. But then on reflection, you think she did just freeze. And I am the queen of that, let me tell you. Like, I can't tell you how many times when I used to like play tennis, how many times I would freeze under pressure. So like, it's one of them, isn't it? And I think actually that's an easy fix. Being able to cope with the pressure. One, being on a DAZN show when you've never had a pro fight, you've not got tons of amateur experience, I don't think it's ever a great idea, personally. But you can always fix that. I don't think it's hard. Like, dealing with the pressure is something, I mean, it comes with financial costs. Like, you've got sports psychologists and stuff like that, but there's work that can be done. Because I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying that, they've seen her sparring or they've seen bits of Monique and that she was a million miles away from what she can do on the night. So it's just one of them. You come again, don't you, at the end of the day?
Yeah, exactly. It's a debut. She can get past this. She is trained by Tony Borg, who trained Lee Selby. So she's got a great coach. He wouldn't be wasting his time if he didn't think going to be great. So I just think it's just one of those things that hopefully she can learn from it, like you say, get past perhaps the fact if it was a pressure thing. She is due to actually fight again in 3 weeks, 5th, because that's meant to be a debut on a sort of small hall show in Cardiff. Now, if that goes ahead, again, getting more experience, I'm not sure. Does she need to go away a bit in the gym before she comes back, or do you think she should go for it in 3 weeks?
I think she needs to go straight in, because I think the longer she leaves it, I think she can overthink, because it was quite a shocking performance, in all fairness, and there's nothing, that's just the way it is. And I think if she leaves it too long, there's a lot she can think about then, and I don't always think that's a good thing. If it was me, I would just jump straight back in and go, you know what, I've had that experience. I know I can do better. I know it was the nerves, and it's a different platform now. These small hall shows are brilliant. They are there for a reason. She'll sell tickets on it. There's no question about that. She can clearly do it. And there's not that pressure. I think with her, I think there would have been a pressure of, right, if I put on a performance, I could be signed by Matchroom, because that weight is open. It's there to be grabbed at. So I think there would have been a lot of pressure on her shoulders for someone who lacks experience. So for me, just get straight back in. Just get in, forget about that performance, and then she'll feel great in 3 weeks and she'll get the win.
Definitely. And let's think about her opponent. Her opponent was actually, quite a tough debut.
Yeah.
I know, looking at the record, people would be like, oh, well, look at the record. But no, look at who that
I've got her box rec here. Let's have a quick look at it. I don't know if you can see it, actually, but when you just look at who she's fought, I mean, she's actually been in with some of the world's best boxers.
And only been stopped by Marshall. I mean...
And everyone does. Femke Hermans, like you say, Savannah Marshall, she fought Hannah Rankin, recently fought April Hunter. Like, she's been in. Ellis Hopkins is another prospect. Georgia O'Connor in her debut. She's very, very experienced, and maybe matchmaking wasn't, I think sometimes with matchmaking, I genuinely think someone just goes on the box rack and goes, lost 15, only won 1, right, she'll do.
And I think you're right, because when I interviewed Monique last week in the gym, she thought it was going to be a fighter from Africa. So obviously this was opponent. So Monique's not had the time to prepare for the person she was going to fight. Very last minute. So there's a factors at play.
Yeah, that's true, actually, because obviously you've interviewed us. If no one's watched that interview, it is on our YouTube channel, and she did mention that, actually, didn't she? I forgot. So yeah, whether there's been an issue, and then this opponent's come in last minute, who is always on the circuit, in all fairness. Like, she fights everyone, doesn't she? So I think just a really bad night in the office. But yeah, if it was me, I'd go again in 3 weeks, dust it off, forget about it. She's not the first person who would have lost a debut and went on to do great things. So you know what? Get the bad stuff out the way now.
Is it Bernard? If it rings a bell, is it Bernard Hopkins who lost his debut?
Possibly, yeah. There's been a few. There's been a few who went on to win world titles and they've lost the debut. Like, it's not the end of the world. Bit of a mistake. Not great matchmaking. Yeah, she might have froze under pressure. I think if you freeze under pressure, as hard as it is, I think that's easy to deal with. If you've got the right people around you and with the right knowledge, you can deal with that. It's if you've got a million other things that you need to work on. But if she can just shake that off, yeah, she'll come again. And she seems lovely. And I think the big thing is she's a ticket seller. Boxing's a business at the end of the day. So she's ticked the most important thing off anyway.
Definitely.
Now, followed by Monique, obviously, Skye, she was on second on, wasn't she? From the main card. So what did you think of Skye's performance?
Yeah, I mean, she won every round and she did what she did. She's very defensive type fighter, hit doesn't it's very comfortable for her. Do you know what? Sitting ringside, I could really appreciate foot movement, how she could just not get tired. She's as fresh as she was at the end as she was at the beginning. And she's so accurate. Like, I think the opponent was a bit tougher than the others, so she wasn't as accurate perhaps as some of the other fights. But when she was hitting, she's very clever with the shots she hits. Yeah. And I thought she was going to the body a fair bit, which I liked. And there seemed to be some power there to the body. But she has had a little bit of criticism online, which I think it's a case of, as they always do, the fans, is that she did a brilliant performance. Oh, fab. But people want to see knockdowns, knockouts.
Susie, no, they don't, because when Raven done that, she got into trouble.
That's true. No one's ever happy with anyone. Yeah, poor Raven does it under 60 seconds, and that's not good enough.
Can't win. Cannot win.
But like, I could sort of see that the fact that at one point she was going in, I was thinking, oh great, we're seeing some aggression here from Skye, and she went in, and then she got caught, and then she kind of backed off again, which you could say smart, because at the end of the day, she won every round and she won.
Yeah.
But from a sort of entertainment point of view, then it'd be nice to see her come forward a bit more as well.
Yeah, I agree. Like, she did get criticised on Twitter, and I was like, oh my God, like I've just said then, you literally can't win. You can't keep people happy, can you? So she's just not a knockout puncher, and there's nothing wrong with that. Either's Clarissa Shields. You know what I mean? Like, what's the drama? Like, she's still undisputed, two-weight undisputed champion. Like, not everyone is a knockout puncher. Not everyone is a Savannah Marshall and Amanda Serrano, you know, a Raven Chapman now. Like, that's okay. So she gets heavily criticised, and people are like, oh, she should have put it on. And I think, have you ever been in the ring? Like, everyone goes, oh, just knock her out. It's like, if it was that easy, we'd all be professional boxers, wouldn't we?
Exactly.
So, you know, for me, definitely you can appreciate his skill, and I enjoy it. I still think she's got, and she is only 4 fights in, I still think she's got a lot of amateur style about her. And the only thing that concerns me slightly is we know she's going to go back into the amateurs and do the Olympics again in the future.
Oh, true.
So
yeah.
I worry about her style in the sense of how much is it going to develop, because she's always going to have in her head that, you know, her dream is to go and win a gold medal at the Olympics. So, because she did go to the body more this fight, but I still think she could have done it more to just try and drag her opponent's hands down a little bit. And yeah, it's great to watch. I think in my opinion, I was watching the fight thinking, I don't know what she's learning from this fight, because it just seems another opponent that is there to survive and not win.
Yeah.
And it's like the fourth opponent that's doing that now. I think the only thing she learned from that is it was one fight too many, like Skye said herself. I think she had 4 fights in 91 days. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So I think if anything from that fight, she's learned to probably pace herself a little bit. You know, it's not a race to how many fights you can do in a short amount of time. Aside from that, yeah, her opponent was tough, but I don't know what. It's just another opponent wanting to survive. And I think we'll see the best of Skye when someone actually wants to come and fight. And that's not Skye's fault. You know, fight who's put in front of you. But let's just move up now. I don't want to see another opponent like that, because I don't think she's getting anything from it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be exciting, actually, when we see a fighter coming forward and really trying to get to Skye. And she put on her display of how great her and slick she is and defensive she is.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, because like you said, her footwork is impeccable, and I think you can see that, but I think you have to like want to see it to notice it, if that makes sense, because she doesn't necessarily need to use her footwork or defense, because no one throws anything anyway.
Yeah.
But you can see it. So I can't wait until she has someone who is throwing punches at her, and then she's got to do that defense, and we see it naturally. And I think then people might appreciate her a bit more. But she's probably never going to knock tons of people out. I'm sure she'll get some KOs and stuff, but she's not going to, not every fight, knock people out. And I think that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, like you say, Clarissa doesn't do it, and she's, you know, in my eyes, pound for pound #1, and she's one of my favourite fighters to watch.
Katie Taylor isn't a knockout artist, so it's fine. But it's not to fans. But if you do knock them out, it's not good enough. I don't get it. Can't keep everyone happy.
What I found is I liked watching Skye live, because I felt like seeing her on the ringside is seeing the whole of her as she fights, rather than, you know, when you have the angles of the camera work, so you go into the hand, the body, you're not seeing her feet so much. When I can actually watch her footwork as she's fighting, I did sit there and be like, wow, you know, she can box, this girl, you know, it was amazing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I've been lucky enough to see her ringside as well, and you do tend to look more at her feet. And I do like as she gets in, you can see when she gets comfortable, the arms come down, she's very loose. And that's all you see. And you miss actually how in sync the top half is to the bottom half. And sometimes you do, actually in a lot of fighters, I don't think you see that. I think sometimes you can see people who've got great footwork, but quite stiff up top, or the other way around. Whereas I feel like she's just very natural, very like fluid as well. And it is really great to see. And I do just think we'll see the best of her as time goes on with better opponents. I would like to see a little bit more versatility, I think, sometimes in a shot. But again, I think that just comes with time, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah, no, definitely. And like you said, when she gets challenged more, we'll see more of that.
Yeah, 100%. Now, the rumor is that she's going to go to Australia. Well, it's not a rumor. I think they've literally said it.
Yeah.
So it can't be too much of a rumor, can it? But you never know. You never know what could happen. But she's going in September to Australia to fight for the Commonwealth.
Oh, I didn't know it was for the Commonwealth.
That's what I've read.
That'd be good, you know.
Don't take my word for it. I read it on Twitter, so who knows?
Yeah.
But that's what I believe is happening. It would make sense. Now, I put on Twitter the other week or the other month, whenever it was, and obviously got criticised for it, that I would like to see Skye Nicolson against Raven Chapman for the Commonwealth. And here's why. Now, everyone was like, oh, that fight will make loads down the line. And I know it will. Here's my issue with boxing sometimes, or many a times. We wait for years upon years and we build this fight, and sometimes it still never happens, or sometimes we only see it once. I would love to see, especially now depth is getting there with women's boxing, I would love to see two fighters, for instance, Skye and Raven, fight for the Commonwealth. And then in a year or a year and a half to come, the world level now. I'd love to see that fight again.
Yeah.
And then maybe a trilogy. But rather than these like rematch clauses where we see it directly after, I'd love to see fighters fight earlier on and then we see them fight each other in levels.
Yeah.
To me, and that would sell more, I believe.
Yeah.
Than holding on to these fighters, protecting them, and then maybe in like 6 years we'll see the fight.
That's true. That would be an epic trilogy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, with that progression of, God, look, we fought 5 years ago for the Commonwealth. Look what I've achieved. Look what you've achieved. Now we're here fighting for a world title. And then it could be undisputed. You don't know how it lines up. But I think because sport's about storytelling. And I think that would be great. And something I believe boxing misses out on a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, another one to throw in the mix is Karis, who's having her debut at the end of the month. Because she's obviously beaten Skye in the amateurs, breaking her heart for Skye, because Skye obviously wanted to get a medal.
Yeah.
So, that could be a nice little matchup right there for Skye, because obviously she wants to get back at her for breaking her heart.
Yeah, that's a great shout actually as well. Obviously, she fights in Coventry, doesn't she? I think towards the end of this month, like you said. Like, there's another one to throw in the mix. And it's like, why? Like, I don't want to wait all these years. Like, I'm not saying in the first couple of fights, but as we're getting like 5-6 fights in, I'd love to see something like that. Like, we don't have to protect the O and be worried about a loss. Like, for me, they're fights I'd love to see in all the different stages and development within boxing.
Yeah.
But it's not going to happen, so we'll see who Skye fights for the Commonwealth.
Yeah, that's true. But talking about Karis, what comes to mind as well is that when I was interviewing Kalia, the Pink Tyson, she said that the only female that's really hurt her sparring was Karis. She said that so much she would have to take painkillers after they sparred.
Wow, didn't know that.
Yes, that's quite an interesting thing to know, isn't it?
Another power puncher in the division. That's what I like to see. And obviously, another person making their debut is Lauren Price this weekend. So it's getting quite exciting, isn't it?
I'm excited for Lauren Price.
Yeah. I'm excited for both of them. And I think they've both got great personalities. Again, they'll sell quite well. I think they'll be quite nice to market. They've got the great amateur background. But again, they are two that have said that they would like to go back and compete in the Olympics.
Yeah. I think we've talked about this before, is how, is it a good idea or isn't it a good idea? No.
I don't like it. I just don't like it at all. But it is what it is. If that's what they want to do, that's fine. But again, I always wonder, like, I'd love to actually sit down and ask them about their development, because when you're going to the Olympics at some point in the future, how far are you changing your style for pros? Because it's two different sports at the end of the day. So, and we've seen how many times the professionals go back into the Olympics and they don't do well because it's a different style.
You just reminded me of what Skye was saying in my interview with her. that when I was saying to her about the difference between the, you know, being an amateur, training for amateurs and the pros, she felt like she's almost fallen back in love with boxing because it's become, you know, it became kind of samey. She'd done what she wanted to do other than the Olympics in the amateurs. Yeah. And then suddenly going to start training pro, she's got that passion back and that drive, and she's loving the training. So how do you go from that and being on this high to then suddenly going back to train as amateur? It's going to be very tough for her. And as much as she wants that gold, I could almost see her not going back into the amateurs.
I don't quite get it in the sense of, you know, look at someone like Skye. She has achieved, apart from an Olympic medal, she's achieved everything that you would want to in the amateurs. She's now got a Matchroom deal. Matchroom push her more than any male or female, near enough any other person on their roster. I don't get why else you would need it. The thing, I think, you know, if you're in the amateurs and you've got that medal, it then puts you in great stead to get signed with someone like Matchroom or Boxer. But she's got that. So I don't know. I know I'm not, like, winning a gold medal in the Olympics is unbelievable, and it's something that no one can ever take away from you. But I feel like once you've had that journey and you've moved to professionals, I feel like that should be your new focus. I think, I just don't quite get it. But I don't know. It is what it is, I suppose. But I think it's 3 places for the GB team. I'm presuming 3 for the male, 3 for the female, that are open to pros coming back in. And in my eyes, you're just taking 3 positions away from people who have worked incredibly hard to earn that spot and now won't, because other people who have had their opportunity are coming back. And I think that's a bit that I really just can't get on board with.
Yeah, because we want to see those fighters up and coming, getting their opportunities, and then coming across to pro and continuing that.
That's it. And like when you've just said about Skye, look, you know, falling back in love with boxing, so many boxers that I speak to, you hear them say, for instance, if they were in Team GB, of course they loved it and it was fantastic, but they all fall out of love with it because it's very routine and it is very samey. You get the impression, and I feel like they're all trying to fit this mold, and they leave and then they fall back in love with boxing because it's just a different style. So like you've just said, it'll be quite hard, won't it, for them to go from, in a way, freedom to then go back to this kind of like factory-like setup.
Yeah, it would feel like a step back. It would be very difficult mentally.
So it will be interesting, but like I say, we'll see. And I suppose next time one of us chat to Skye, that'll have to be a question we ask, because and I genuinely will find it quite fascinating about how they're going to develop, knowing that they're going to go back into the amateurs. But like you said, it could change their minds. You never know. She could have a world title by then and go, just leave it now.
Do you know, I just wouldn't be surprised, because I would find it really odd if you're loving it that much to then have to step back. And it's not a step back such, but you know, it's what she has been doing, and then we'll see.
It's a strange one. It is a strange one. So obviously Skye got a bit of criticism for not knocking her opponent out because apparently it's super easy. But someone who genuinely made it look very easy was Dee Allen, who fought at the weekend, and like her knockout, I think it was second round if I am remembering correctly, but it was fourth round.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, I'm trying to think. I know it's on Robbie Flynn's Instagram. He's posted it. So if anyone hasn't seen it, go and have a look, because, oh my God, it was unbelievable. Like, what a shot.
Yeah, it is spectacular. Yeah.
And then Rack put, because obviously Rack was there covering it, and he was like, you know, this is going to be the best knockout of the weekend. Joe Cordina spoiled that for her, but it was still just it was a right hand, wasn't it? And it was just, it was nasty. It was nasty. But that's only Dee's second professional fight, and she's looking very good.
Yeah, both knockouts. So she's 2-0, 2 KOs. Looking very nice. Yeah, very good.
Making it look easy.
Yeah.
And I know I spoke to Robbie the other day, and I know he's got, I think, 2 fights upcoming for her already booked in. I believe the 1st of July, and then one a couple of weeks later, I think. But she's definitely got 2 booked in. And his plan is just to keep her very busy. And get her right up to the top because, you know,
Yeah.
again, she's in one of the higher divisions where there's a gap there, so go and fill it. And I feel like she's going to do it. But she's entertaining. Like, this is someone who is going to develop on these small hall shows. And then we're going to see her on a big show. She'll get her opportunity and she will just entertain and then get her opportunity.
Because just think, if she'd done that KO on a Matchroom or Boxer event, think how mega famous she'd already be now.
Yeah. So then that becomes like a highlight on the adverts.
Yeah, exactly. Which in some ways is good, but then also, like you say, she's still getting her opportunity now to learn and develop, so that when she comes up onto these bigger shows, you know, she's going to be ready for that kind of coverage.
Yeah, I mean, I always say this is the route. If I was a professional boxer, I would go down. And I know it's easy to say when you're not a professional boxer, but for me, I love seeing people who learn their trades on these small hall shows. Plus, the atmosphere is always unbelievable. It's full from the first fight, and I think that's what you miss out on. Like, I think it must be quite tough for some boxers who come out, especially, you know, 5 p.m., half 5 p.m. Not Cardiff this weekend, but typically you're in quite a big arena or stadium, and it's not very busy. So I don't know whether it'd make you a little bit flat, whereas you're walking out into one of these small hall shows and they're not small. They've still got hundreds and hundreds of people there. And the atmosphere is always incredible. And like, you must be able to feed off that straight away.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because I remember speaking to Raven about this, because she had so many sort of opportunities for a debut that just kept on falling through, and she was very disappointed. And then she ended up doing one of Steffi's shows.
Yeah.
And actually it turned out to be perfect for her. She was so happy with that debut because, you know, it gave her that opportunity to have that kind of feeling, like you say, on the debut, where it was full. She got the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Whereas it would have been walking out to a, you know, pretty empty, big, massive venue, completely feeling.
That's it. And it's the best of both worlds. I know you have the TV coverage and things like that, but I mean, Steffi Ball's got a great reputation for his shows, so they're always full. He makes them nice and fancy as well from the pictures that I've seen. They always look great. And it's one of them, like old school. I don't think you get it enough, you know, where you're getting like the 3-course meal and everyone dresses nice and sits around the nice tables, and they always sell out like instantly. So to walk out, everyone gets it obviously because you've got to get there for your food and that. So it's full by the time the first fight's there. And like I said, and obviously Raven, it was perfect because she also got a knockout, which is a perfect debut.
Yeah.
So yeah, and like someone like Dee Allen, you know, a couple more fights, I think, on these small hall shows. And before you know it, like, she will get an opportunity on a bigger platform because, you know, they're the ones that have the belts. And I don't think it'll be long before she can challenge for one. You know, she just looks so good, and she's only 2-0. It's amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, obviously, you got to speak to Eddie Hearn this week. Super jealous. Super jealous. Again, if no one's seen that, have a look on our YouTube channel. So you got to speak to him about quite a bit. I want to start, though, about, you obviously asked. So Amanda Serrano teased the stall, didn't she? And was like, I'm going to be fighting in August. So, of course, I messaged her straight away because I need to try. So I'm like, I texted you as well, didn't I? I was like, I'm going to book a hotel for every single weekend in August because I am not missing this. And then tell us what Eddie Hearn said, because I'm too heartbroken still.
Yeah. So first of all, I wanted to just sort of say thank you to Eddie for doing the interview, because what people don't see is how much work he puts in behind the scenes. Like, you know, what people don't realise, I had to wait around for an hour to interview him because that many people wanted interviews, and he made sure he saw every single person that wanted to speak to him, and he had the same energy and didn't moan once. So I just wanted to thank him for that, because that was really good of him.
Yeah.
So when I spoke to him about Taylor Serrano, which I had to, because I had to congratulate him on what a great show it was in New York, he said he would like to do the rematch probably September. And then when I sort of questioned, said, "Oh, is it not August?" Because Amanda was messaging that, and he said that he's not planning on doing it in August. So the only thing he could think is that perhaps Amanda's considering doing a fight in between. So who knows, really? Because if she's fighting in August against someone else, will she really be fighting a rematch with Katie September?
No.
So I don't know.
No, I'm 99% confident that that fight won't be Amanda in Ireland. I'm 99% sure on that. And it is what it is, I suppose. I'm sure there's reasons why Amanda's obviously chosen to go down a different route, that we might all find out about in the next week or so. And I actually now I'm not confident that the rematch will ever happen, for the reason of, I think, and I could be lying, and I hope I'm wrong, but I think Katie will have this fight in Croke Park, and we'll talk about opponents in a minute. And then, regardless of opponent, Katie Taylor will sell that out. She could stand on her own shadow box and sell Croke Park out. There's no
Yeah.
issue with that. So she's coming off a career best win against Amanda Serrano in Madison Square Garden. She follows that up by a sold-out Croke Park fight, whoever it is.
Yeah.
What's going to top that? And I don't know whether she'll sit there and go, I've literally done everything now.
Yeah.
Will she come back? I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I hope she does, but I have a genuine feeling that that could be it. Because what a perfect way to end a career. If you're going to end it, to do it in Croke Park, sold out, she headlines.
That was the feeling we were getting already, weren't we, when they were sort of saying about going back to Ireland for a fight. It felt like saying this would be like
A farewell.
A farewell.
Yeah.
So shame if it's Amanda, but it'll be amazing. Still sell out, but
yeah, it's definitely a shame. I'm very convinced we're not going to see Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor. It definitely won't be in September. I'm pretty confident on that. Whether we'll see it again, I'm not too sure. Now, here's the opponents. Holly Holm has been rumoured. I'm not a fan. Don't like it.
At all. It's just a gimmick, isn't it, really, in a way?
I think the only way I'd have this fight is I'd be interested is if Katie Taylor retires and then she goes, I'm bored now, I'm going to come back and do an exhibition. And I go, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm just not interested in this fight. It literally just does not excite me whatsoever.
Yeah.
We'll do this in a minute, actually. But yeah, so does this fight excite you, Nem?
No, because, Holly Holm has been amazing. Like, she's been an amazing boxer. But that was way back. She's now in UFC. She's done amazing in UFC. And to go back to boxing, to Katie Taylor, it's just like, it's more of isn't it? It's more of a just a fun type fight, just to have the names there fighting, because Holly Holm won't be at the top of her boxing game. It's.
And what would it be for undisputed? Is Holly Holm just walking back into boxing and getting an undisputed fight? Like, I don't get it.
It's crazy.
I don't think so. I actually do not. Like, if I was in that division, and like I've got loads of respect for Holly Holm. I really like what she does. But I'm sorry, there's no way you can just walk back into a sport and go, I'll have that undisputed title or all them belts and I'll have that fight. No.
Yeah.
But I don't get it. But I don't know. Could it be? I'm not sure. I hope not. So that's the one that's initially rumoured. People talk about this Jessica McCaskill rematch. I don't know. It excites me more than Holly Holm.
Without doubt, yeah.
Definitely excites me more. It's the weight thing that I won't get, because is Jessica going to come down? Is it going to be catch weight? Is it going to be for one of these made up belts that Rick Ramos talks about?
Yeah.
That's the only thing that then I'm a bit like, it's definitely still exciting. But there's just something I still am a bit like, it's just, I don't know. And I think it's the weight, because it's not a true undisputed fight, this fight at all.
Yeah, unless it's there where, whoever goes up or down. Yeah, like you say, if it's catch weight, it's just
something. And I don't see Katie going up. Like, Katie will only fight at that weight. She's not going to, it will just be for that. There's no question about it. So,
yeah.
Again, will it? But I don't think it will happen anyway, this fight. But it is one, I know people are calling out for it, and it is a lot better than Holly Holm. The fight I would like to see, and I know you would, and I know many others would. Someone else is just for it. Frederick Thomas.
Yeah. Yeah, we agree with you, Frederick.
Yeah, I'm on board with this one. I'll put what a couple of other people said, but it's got to be Chantal Cameron. If Amanda Serrano isn't fighting because whatever reason, surely the Eddie Hearn should go, oh, brilliant, because I've got Chantal, who is desperate for an undisputed fight. Obviously, the fight with Callie's going to have to wait a little bit. What an opportunity. They're both signed with Matchroom.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
I know that Chantel's always said she naturally wanted to fight at lightweight. You know, she had to move up because she wanted the opportunities. So for her, lightweight was always the fight, you know, the division she wanted. So she wouldn't mind, I'm sure, coming down to lightweight at all.
I'm sure she wouldn't mind at all.
So, yeah, for me as well, that makes perfect sense.
This has to be, it won't be. I think I could bet everything I own on the fact that it will not be this fight for many, many reasons. But this is the fight it should be. I think if Katie's going to Croke Park, you want it to be one of the biggest fights. And if it's not Amanda, for me, this is Katie Taylor's second biggest fight.
Yeah, I agree. And I asked Eddie direct about Katie Taylor because, why can't we have this fight? And obviously he used to like, well, I wanted to have Kaylee, I wanted to have perhaps Jessica McCaskill. So for him, he doesn't really want this fight. So
he just dances around it all the time.
Yeah. So I was a bit like, well, okay. So if Chantal becomes undisputed and she beats Jessica, does she get a shot then? And he was like, well, yeah. But like, she has to do so much to even get,
Why? She literally, every fight, she proves herself. I don't even know why she has to anymore. It's actually just embarrassing for everyone around who isn't giving her the opportunities now. But
she was mandatory for Katie so long ago at lightweight before she moved up. I mean, yeah, that's it. She was mandatory for Katie, didn't get her opportunity, so she moved up, was mandatory for Jessica McCaskill, never got her shot, even though she had an eliminator for her, because then Jessica McCaskill moved on. So I just feel so sorry for her that she's tried so hard and then she's never been given those opportunities.
It just becomes comical, but then at the same time, it's not even funny because you're actually just completely ruining someone's career. But it genuinely is comical at times. And then I remember speaking to Chantal before a fight, and I asked her, like, why do you think Eddie Hearn goes quiet? And I think she just had to laugh at it because it's that comical now. Like, he might as well come out and go, I do not want Katie Taylor fighting Chantal Cameron. Just come out and say it now, because he's done everything else but say it. Yeah, I mean, what? So she has to beat Callie Reese when that fight happens, and that fight's not happening soon. Then Jessica McCaskill, and then she might get an opportunity.
Well, that's the way it sounded, because basically
he still wouldn't
be undisputed. So basically, he wants her to be undisputed against Kaylee Reese, have that finish that tournament. But then he was also mentioning the other fight he wants is Jessica McCaskill. So I can't tell whether he would give her the opportunity of, if she became undisputed at the current weight, whether we'd give her an opportunity then if Jessica McCaskill wasn't available, or whether she has to get through Jessica as well. He didn't really make that clear, but basically it's a case of there's lots of reasons why.
It's just ridiculous, isn't it? I don't know what else Chantal has to do, and I'll say it again, I think she needs to leave Matchroom, because I know everyone goes, oh, this is where all the fighters are. She doesn't get the fights anyway. She does not get the fights with Matchroom. So what's the point in staying with them? I just think the lack of respect is awful. And the fact that, Amanda's not taking this fight, Chantal, in any other promoter's eyes, surely would be first in line. There's an issue why she's not. So,
and she's hard. We've said it before, she's just an exceptional boxer, and she should be getting all the opportunities and all the promotion. We put out there, getting her becoming more of a name. It's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, I keep saying it as well. Like, that's what she needs. I believe she needs to move to a different promotion but move under the, with the idea of, I want to be the star at this promotion. I want to be the Katie Taylor of whatever promoter I sign with, because she then needs to stock needs to rise. Like, she needs to be worth what she is worth, because she's not at the minute, and that is genuinely, I believe, down to promotion. So that fight's not going to happen. Now, this is the fight. Now, if the Holly Holm fight doesn't happen, this is the fight that I think will. and I can't say it excites me at all, but I'm 50-50 between this and Holly Holm.
I think we've talked about this. Didn't we talk about this with Ring IQ when we had a chat with me? And yeah, it does nothing for me either, to be honest. I mean, I know they've got their bit of their backstory that they'll play on, the fact that you know, in the
amateurs,
you know, and Estelle was a gold medalist, you know, but I just feel like Estelle Moseley needs to do a lot more in the pros, you know, to basically warrant a fight against Katie.
Yeah, doesn't excite me either. I quite like Estelle. I think Estelle, you know, if she wants in a couple of years, would have an opportunity maybe against one of, you know, the girls coming up in the division, or some of them that will cross over. You know, you imagine in a year or two when Katie retires, you'll have the likes of Michaela Mayer hold a belt at this weight, Terry Harper hold a belt at this weight, plenty more. Not Chantal Cameron, obviously, but everyone else. Then yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't like it, and I don't like the whole thing of selling it because Estelle beat Katie in the amateurs a million years ago. Like, they done that with the Tasha Jonas fight, and I just didn't like the Tasha and Katie fight could sell on its own anyway. This fight can't, and I don't like the whole, you know, the amateur, I beat Katie, like, no one cares. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't work for me. Like, and I always say the only fight it kind of works with is the Savannah Clarissa, because it's Clarissa's only loss.
Yeah, it's different.
That's the only difference. I think aside from that, I just don't like the whole talk about, oh, such and such beat someone in the amateurs, so we'll sell a fight based on that. Like, yeah, it's great to know and it is useful information, but not to sell an entire undisputed fight on that fact. So, but I think this could be a possible opponent.
Yeah, I think you could be right.
So someone else has said, quite bizarre what's going on with Chantal. It is just quite obvious. I think everyone can see it, can't they, now, that there's something going on. And, you know, I think Tasha Jonas had the same issue. And obviously she had to leave. Someone mentioned Heather Hardy. I don't think Heather is. I'm a huge fan of Heather Hardy. Really like her. It was one of my first boxers that I watched on TV, and I really don't want to see that fight.
Yeah.
I like Heather, but she's had her best moments, I feel, in boxing. So I don't wanna...
Yeah, I love her as well. But
yeah, I absolutely love Heather, and I would love to see her back in the ring, but no, not against Katie Taylor. Do you have anyone else that you think we could possibly see Katie in the ring with?
No, I think you've covered most of it, you know, unless it's an unknown quantity, you know, an unknown person that's sort of, you know, that's had a couple of fights, you know, is down the list, then no. You know?
Have a quick look on BoxRec. Do you know what I think it is?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought, God, she'd only go back to Croke Park for a major fight. Now, I'm not criticising Katie Taylor, because Katie Taylor would fight. I believe Katie Taylor would fight Chantal Cameron. I believe she wants Serrano, and I believe if she had to, even though no one would, you know, no one wants to fight Pursoon, she'd even take the Pursoon trilogy at this point, because I have no doubt that Katie Taylor wants to be in there with the best. I think it's Matchroom or whoever, there's an issue there. And I believe this Croke Park, this, you know, homecoming, will be a fight that she will 100% win. Because do they want Katie Taylor to go to Croke Park, and I think it's like 84,000 or wherever, and then she has a 50-50 fight with Amanda, and Amanda wins, and her homecoming as being Katie Taylor lost her belts at Croke Park? That's not like the fairy tale story, is it?
That's true. That is true.
So that can, and like the Holly Holm, if she's first in line, that must be the logic of, we want you to have a fight where you can look really good and you're definitely going to win it. It's a perfect homecoming. Because the Holly Holm one just makes no sense.
Yeah, other than to bring in some crossover with UFC, get some more numbers in, money.
But they're more like exhibition styles.
Yeah.
They're not, for me personally, not for an active fighter. Unless you're talking... I don't know, maybe with the right fighters, yeah, possibly. But with this, I just don't get it. Like Holly Holm's not boxing however long. Do you know what I mean? And no, I just I don't get it. How many fights do you think Katie Taylor has left in her career?
Well, you've already mentioned this, haven't you? You thinking this
One.
could yeah.
One more. That's it.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I think
Unless there is a huge payday for Amanda Serrano, because she's built a legacy, Katie Taylor. She doesn't have to do anything else now. And she will go down as one of the greatest to step in the ring. She doesn't need to do anything else, does she? So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one.
It'll be this one, like you say, the farewell type one. And I think she could be tempted back for a Serrano rematch if it happened relatively in the next sort of year or two.
Yeah, but that'd be it.
Yeah.
I don't even think Katie wants to come back for just, in a way, boring fights. Like the way she performed against Amanda was unbelievable. Prior to that, they were quite flat, and you can't blame her because some of her opponents, I'm not being disrespectful, but some of them, they're great boxers, but Katie Taylor is beyond great.
Yeah.
So it must be difficult for her to get it. You know, she lives away, doesn't she? She's in camps, you know, it's a lot of sacrifice to do that for a fight that you're not that hyped for. There's only so much you can do that. So I agree with you. She'll do this like farewell fight. If the money's right and the time is right, she'll do Amanda, and then that'll be it.
And like you say, she really is a fighter. She loves getting stuck in there because as much as she could just outbox anyone, you know, and she could be exceptional at it, how many times does she get drawn in because she just loves to fight?
It's so funny. I love it though.
On that logic, you're right, because some of these fights probably aren't as interesting to her when she can't get stuck in and have a real fight with them, you know?
Yeah. She kind of admitted that in a very, I mean, she worded it better than me, obviously, but in a very polite way where, you know, she was asked about, you know, this fight with Amanda and how she got herself ready. And, you know, she was asked about the last few fights and performances. And she did basically say, you know, I don't take, in a way, any opponent for granted, but there is something different about an opponent like Amanda, and she kind of worded it quite well, but you knew that it was kind of, she was going through the motions for a good few fight camps, and now, you know, she's here and, like, you know, she's made her money. She's not enough, but, you know, she does speak how she's made a lot more than she thought she would when she turned over. She probably didn't think at that time she would make a lot. You know, she's just got a nice payday. She'll get a great payday from Croke Park. And I think the only person that could top that payday would be a fight with Amanda. If we don't see that, that's it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Terry Harper is number 2 on BoxRec at lightweight. Didn't know she was that high already. Fair play.
Well, BoxRec, I take it with a pinch of salt because, don't get me wrong, Terry's great.
Oh, we're big Terry fans. We are big Terry fans.
But I just feel like with BoxRec, they do some bizarre sort of, because it's a computer program. At the end of the day, things happen where it doesn't go quite right. So we can't really take what BoxRec says as possible.
No, I wouldn't put her at number 2. Like I say, Terry will win world titles. I believe she can become undisputed in this division in years to come. But Terry's a baby. What is she, like 26?
Yeah.
Like, she's an actual baby in the sport. She's actually got, like, she's 10 years younger than, like, Katie Taylor. So there's no rush for someone like Terry. And I think, I mean, she's with Steffi Ball. And Steffi Ball's mentioned that himself. You know, they've got the world title. They've literally got the T-shirt, as have I, behind me, thanks to them, of winning a world title. Like, they've done that now. So it's about enjoying the process.
Yeah.
No. So I wouldn't put her at number 2. I don't think she'd put herself at number 2 in lightweight, though.
And I think, are they referencing this? Is someone referencing this to say, could she be in line to fight Katie Taylor? But there's no way that I think that fight's gonna happen, because
not this year or next year.
She's just not ready to have that mega fight yet, Terry, at lightweight.
No. And I think that's fine, but she will be. Her mega fight is a different generation of boxing. Her mega fight isn't going to come against Katie Taylor because them ships are going to cross. And and that's fine. For me, that mega fight is the fight we thought we would see at Super Feather, the Michaela Mayer Terry Harper fight. That will be the mega fight that we thought we'd see. And there's a nice little story there. We thought we'd see it, the big upset of Terry losing the belts. Then they both had to move up weight, and then we'll see that. And that will be a mega fight for at least one belt, if not more, by the time it comes. But no, I wouldn't want to see the Katie Terry fight. I wouldn't want to see that because I wouldn't like to pick a winner.
But, yeah, I'm excited for Terry at lightweight because, she's exceptional. She's an exceptional fighter. Really excited to see what she does at lightweight. And like you say, it's just going to be such an exciting division with everyone coming up. Michaela Mayer, Baumgardner will come up. We've got more people coming through. It's going to be good, isn't it?
It's going to be the stacked division, isn't it? Like I think I said last week or the week before, Super Feather was my favorite division, but now they're all filtering out. Lightweight's going to be, I think, the biggest division. And like you say, there's going to be some mega fights. I mean, if we speak of the mega fight then, which was Michaela Mayer, Alicia Baumgardner, the fight there, not even a year ago, no one would have spoke about that fight. Not many people know who Baumgardner was.
Yeah.
And in the space of less than 12 months, she's getting herself set up for this mega fight. So it sounds like the fight itself is signed for.
Yeah.
But date and location hasn't been released, has it?
No.
Where do you think it's going to be? UK or USA?
Because everyone keeps hinting that Michaela's next fight is going to be UK.
Yeah.
Going to have a fight before this, which it doesn't seem to be, then it's going to be okay, because I know people in a camp have been hinting it. She's kind of it. So for me, it's definitely okay.
I said that and everyone was like, they're both from America. And I was like, thank you, I know that. But Alicia Baumgardner obviously done her title defense in the UK, even though there was plenty of opportunities to have done it in America. Michaela Mayer has done I know she's not fought in the UK. She's done so much work in the UK for Sky Sports. She even covered a boxer event, the Boxer Series, where I think she admitted herself, she obviously didn't know a lot about these boxers and she still was like on comms for it, and she was still great. So she's been in the UK a lot. Obviously, Alicia's done her 2 fights. Yeah. Why would they then just randomly do it in America?
It's been built up for it, isn't it?
Yeah, they're both building their profiles in the UK, and this is where the money is at. Any big fight at this moment, until America catch up with women's boxing, because they're still behind the UK, until that happens, I think all mega fights to a certain degree have to be here. Take away the likes of someone like Katie Taylor who could sell anywhere. I think for the majority of other people, I do think mega fights do need to be within, in the UK now.
Definitely, because tell by the over, especially they come over like Michaela and all a crowd, the fans.
Yeah,
and they're like, wow, this is where, you can just tell.
They all say, don't they, if you ever interview someone from America or wherever and they fought in the UK, they always say they love the UK fans, and that has just become, it's because everyone gets really drunk and rowdy and just creates an amazing atmosphere. That's what I do. So yeah, I presume that fight's going to be in the UK. Now, it's not going to headline, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it could. Only not because it's not worthy, because it'll be an unbelievable fight. Yeah. I don't think their stock is at the level to headline in the UK. Obviously, they're still growing their like UK presence here. Obviously, it'll be Mayer's first time fighting in the UK. So I think it's very worthy of a headline. I just think like financially, business side, would it headline? I'm not sure, but I'd love it to. And the fight would deserve it. But I think I think financially, I don't know whether it would be, I don't know. So I don't think it would headline. So it would be interesting to see what card they're on. Be interesting to see what promotion, because I can't quite work that out when I'm trying to like read about it.
Yeah, because obviously she's with Top Rank, Michaela. Yeah. She's got some sort of deal with Sky Sports, Boxer. So really it's Boxer and obviously Matchroom. So I guess they've got to work it out as to who puts it on.
And then my thought process was, And again, just could be very wrong. Obviously, Anthony Joshua is having his rematch with Usyk, but that will be on Sky Sports, because even though Joshua is with Matchroom, he's not with DAZN, he's with Sky. And then, oh my God, I forgot his name. The guy from Sky, but I don't know, I forgot his name now. Not Ben Shalom, though. Who's the other guy? His name will come to him in a minute, but he mentioned how he wanted some of the boxer fighters on. And Eddie Hearn was like, no, it's my show. It's just on Sky. So I don't know whether that could be a little bit easier to possibly put on. And that fight's been rumoured to be pushed back until the end of August or September now. But you don't know with that fight the dates, because it keeps changing.
And the problem with that being, isn't it going to be like Saudi Arabia or a country like that? In which case, have we seen a female fight yet out of one of the countries?
Not in boxing, because I'm not a big fan of any sports taking place in countries where there's not the right rights for humans and society. Yeah. I just hate it, don't like it. Loads of sports do it. WWE done it, and they had their female WWE superstars perform. So someone did point that out to me, because I put a tweet like, there won't be a female undercard, because literally until the other year, we wouldn't have been able to watch sport in a stadium.
I saw you put that tweet out, and I couldn't believe it. That's so crazy.
So I'm not a fan, but so that was another thought process of mine, whether just for broadcasts and type of things, could it be on that show? I'm not sure. But
it disappoints me, because as a female, I wouldn't want to travel out to go and watch it.
No,
because I wouldn't go to that country.
No. This is what I mean. So that's why I don't like any sports being held there, because your target, I know females aren't necessarily the target audience, but it's the growing audience, and you're stopping a growing audience from being able to go and watch it, because 99% of women aren't going to go. It's as simple as that. And we weren't even allowed in anyway until recently. So I don't like any of that. But apparently they are allowed to now. So, but I don't know. I wouldn't do it. If I was an athlete and I had a choice, I would say no. But that was just my other thought process, just because of the broadcasting. But I presume the UK is more likely. Yeah, but we'll see. I am looking forward to that. Definitely. Who's going to win?
But it's such a tough one, because I like them both for reasons. Do you know what? I've got a soft spot for Michaela Mayer, because for me, I feel like she's grown so much with every fight. Like, my respect for every fight. You go in, she gets better. And I love that. We see it every single fight. Learning, it's great. And Coach Al.
Oh, stop.
I love the relationship.
It brings a tear to my eye. She's bought a new house, or building a house, or something incredible, isn't she? And she's like, he's got his own room.
Yeah, and she's like, it looks so comfortable for him, gets him just right for him.
She done his room before any other room in the house.
Oh, I just love the relationship.
Yeah.
So she's developed. I love the story, how she developed. And so I have got a soft spot for Michaela, so I'm always a bit of a team Michaela anyway. But now, Alicia Baumgart, that Terry Harper, how we've talked about her boxing. She's a great boxer. I love them both. I don't want to say. I think it's really fun. That's that.
You're going to get splinters from sitting on the fence.
Wait, I'm going to go Michaela Mayer.
Ooh.
But if you this, I do love her, and brilliant fighter as well. I love them both.
It's tough, isn't it? It's probably one of the harder fights to call out of all of these mega fights. For me, I think this is the hardest one to call, mainly because I don't think we've seen a lot of Alicia yet. I don't think her last fight, even though she was great, and I think she literally won every single round, I think it probably wasn't her best performance, and then she had an opponent just trying to survive and things. we've seen what she can do against someone like Terry Harper. And it wasn't even the knockout for me. It was just her boxing and her footwork. It's just impeccable. But then, like you say, Michaela gets so much better with every fight and she develops. And that Hamadouche fight was unreal. And both of them played a part in that fight. It was fantastic. The scorecards were too wide, but Michaela won. And we saw a different side from Michaela. Like, she's powerful. She's
Yeah.
also got a chin on her. And
Yeah.
she can fight on the inside, because I've always loved how she keeps her range quite nice and she moves in and out, but she can fight on the inside when she needs to. And what a fight it's going to be.
And that's why I'm probably edging it to Michaela at the moment, because I just like we see more of Michaela, but more of the experience with the top fighters. We've seen more from us, so I feel like I can say I know what we get with Michaela more. And in fact, do I? Because she's getting better. She could be even better. But then, like you say, I don't feel like I fully know what Baumgardner's can do, even better and getting better, or, we just don't know. So it's an unknown quantity in a way.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what's going to make the fight exciting as well. I've said this to you. My only concern is Maya's weight. I know she keeps talking how she needs to move up, and this will be her last fight at Super Feather. My only concern is, will it be a Terry Harper situation of it's just one fight too many at the weight? And I think until you try it, you don't know. And it's too big of a fight to pass up as well.
Yeah.
Like, I understand. Like, if this fight didn't come along, I think she would have moved up by now. So my only concern is it one fight too many? We've seen what can happen when you drain. We saw that with Terry. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I think if Maya comes in and she's still feeling sharp and comfortable, I'm going to go 50-50 because I don't know. But I think if she struggles with the weight, I'm going to go Baumgardner. But that's so obvious. Everyone was. Someone's just put that they always underrated Maya. I just don't think Maya's had. She's obviously always just on American shows, isn't she, as well? And I'm going to get criticised for this, I'm sure. Obviously, I'm not a fan of Bob Arum. I know she's on big shows and things, but I still don't think she gets maybe promoted as well as she should be. For everyone to see how good she is. But then that Hamadouche fight, if you don't rate May, I think you have to watch that fight against Hamadouche, and then you'll have a lot of respect for her.
Definitely. And it should be for like you've been saying, it should be for Undisputed. They should strip the belt off Choi. Because
what's she doing?
Not fighting and she's refusing everybody. Then what's the point in having sanctioning bodies that they keep an eye on all this? They it should be for Undisputed, because they are willing to fight each other and put everything on the line. What's Choi doing?
She just winds me up. Like, it just annoys me. So obviously she was initially meant to fight Terry Harper, which feels like a lifetime ago. Fair enough, she did come for that fight. Terry obviously broke her hand. Then Terry and Steffi wanted that Choi fight as her return fight. And Choi didn't want it. So then they moved on to Baumgardner, which is very funny, isn't it? How, like, the start of a line for some compared to others, I suppose. But Choi didn't want that one. Then I know Matchroom and Baumgardner have tried to get the Choi fight.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. I know Maya's tried to get the Choi fight. Hasn't happened. Yeah. Why on earth are we going to have this? Because I'm not being funny. Okay. Whoever wins, Baumgardner or Maya. Okay. The then undisputed fight against Choi isn't a great fight because they both convincingly beat Choi.
Yeah.
Like, convincingly. Choi is very one-dimensional. She doesn't bring a lot to the table. It's all straight shots, not great head movement.
I agree. So what a letdown for an Undisputed fight suddenly afterwards.
Yeah. So take the belt off her because she doesn't want to fight anyone. I put that on Twitter and people are like, why would she just give up a belt? Well, she's not fighting. She obviously doesn't want to fight anymore.
Yeah, it shouldn't be down to what she doesn't want to do. She should be forced to, in the Met. A week goes by, they get stripped. It's like
it's brutal, isn't it?
you haven't signed anything in a week. That's it. No,
Yeah, but it is true. I mean, God, how many times do you see it where someone's stripped and they haven't even like got change from their
Yeah,
fight yet, and they've just been stripped of the belt.
real. If this happened then, there'd be outcry about it.
Yeah. And then you've got Choi's just sitting there, and I think she last fought in September or whatever, but they just pick the random opponent. Like, I don't know. It baffles me. She's not fighting mandatory. She's not fighting the other champions. She's just hogging the belts. And she mustn't want to be paid because she would have been offered a very decent payday to fight either Mayer on Top Rank or either Baumgardner on Matchroom.
But what I don't get is that wasn't she under Matchroom? Isn't she signed for Matchroom? So why hasn't it been
Oh
fought?
yeah, forgot about that.
Do you know what I
But
mean?
did they sign her just for the Terry fight, or was she always with them?
I thought they signed that she was signed before that because when he started signing everybody, because then she went to America for that fight.
Yeah,
before,
yeah.
and I'm sure that was under Matchroom. And then gearing up for the. And then suddenly, that's it.
It's been that long though. You wonder whether their contracts ran out.
Yeah,
because surely, I mean, I'm not being funny. Matchroom buy belts left, right, and centre. So surely, if there was a way, you would buy the belt off, or you would do anything. Like stuff like that happens all the time. And she's just sitting there with it. It's so rude. It just annoys me.
Yeah, I don't get it at all.
Yeah, Choi's last title defense was in September. I'm presuming that's September 2021.
Yeah.
Rather than the so. I mean, but she's not even got a fight announced. Like say, she's just turned everything down. So, and what will be unfortunate if Michaela Mayer does win, she'll still vacate, and she's not become undisputed. Whereas if Baumgardner wins, she then can go on and try and force the Choi undisputed fight.
Yeah.
Whereas if Mayer wins, that like she's obviously what she's done is unreal, but she won't be classed as an undisputed champion.
Yeah, because although we'd all kind of know it just
it's
won't
not
be
official.
Yeah.
So yeah, we should set up a petition or something to get the belt off Choi.
Yeah, real. I don't get it. You would think that between Bob Arum and Eddie Hearn, they'd sort something out.
It's not hard. They've done other things, but yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? But I don't know. I don't know what's gone on there. Do not know. Just before we finish, obviously this Saturday in London, we've got Lauren Price making a debut.
Yeah.
Excited for that one. Again, what division is she fighting in?
Well, she was middleweight at the in the Olympics. I haven't actually checked to see what weight she's fighting weekend.
Yeah, because I'm not sure if it's middleweight or she's coming in at a different weight, but she's around them weights, which is always exciting.
Yeah, definitely.
So looking forward to that. Obviously, she's got a great amateur pedigree. That'll be great to see. Great to see that she's signed with Boxer as well. Boxer is stealing all of the amateurs. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. And then also got Shannon Ryan. And
Shannon Ryan this will be her second fight. She's 1-0 so far. She signed with Anthony Joshua's management company. She's now a Boxer, so this will be her second fight. And then Ebony Jones, who is coming off a draw, so she's one win, one draw.
She's fighting Beck Connolly.
Is she?
Yeah, Ebony Jones. Yeah, Beck's out again this weekend.
You know what? I get that lost. So I've got Beck on Instagram, and she's always fighting, and she's always in camp. That I genuinely don't know what she's fighting for anymore. I just lose track.
To be honest, I did DM her and ask her. It got to that point because it wasn't on BoxRec.
It's still not.
Is it not? So I DM'd us. That's how I know.
Right, because I looked just before this, and I'm thinking, you know what? Because I was getting awfully confused. Because obviously I'm going this Saturday, so I'll be ringside. And the only person on the poster is Lauren Price, and I'm thinking, I'm sure there's 3 female fights on. And when you start thinking, there's that many shows? I don't know if I'm getting them mixed up.
Yeah.
And then Boxer put out a post the other day saying, obviously, Ebony Jones and Shannon Ryan. Then you go on BoxRec and they're not on it. So then I was like, are they fighting? But okay, Beck Connolly. That'll be a nice opponent for Ebony to come back to, I think.
Yeah. And then also, I think Gemma Rueg might be fighting. I'm not entirely sure. I know she's just fought, but I saw her.
She's got a few coming up.
But I don't know whether she's added in because she's kind of team Beck Connolly, whether she's done a corner before her with her.
Yeah.
So whether it's because she's in a corner or whether because she's actually fighting herself, I don't know.
She was on a boxer show the other week, wasn't she, against Chloe Watson, I believe. I think it was anyway, but she was definitely on against someone.
And she's this weekend as well. So
yeah,
she's out again. But I just saw her at it in, so I was like, what was she at again?
No, I know she's got a few fights coming up. And I did see, I think she was like, I'm having today to rest day, and then we're back to it. And then I know she is fighting this weekend. I wasn't sure if it was in. Yeah, I'm sure she's definitely fighting this weekend, whether it's at the boxer show or a different one. But Gemma's one who she's a little bit like Becca Conley in the sense of like she's out a lot, but Gemma is also racking up her own wins in her own right. So yeah, she is fighting some of these like prospects on the big shows coming up, but Gemma does go to the small hall shows and she is racking up her own wins. So she's creating her own path.
She won this weekend.
She did, yeah. I like Gemma. I like what she's someone who's working hard. She's gets in the ring when she can. She'll fight anyone. She might not always win, but she's winning the majority of the time. And the people she's losing to, the great prospects. So no shame in that.
Yeah.
So I like her.
That's it. She's getting that experience. So she's like a dark horse, really.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. That's it. Like, not everyone has to come in at a 20-0 record. Yeah. Like, she's gaining all this experience. She's on the big show. She's on the small show. It doesn't matter. She will take a fight. She'll do the fight. And then she moves on to the next one. So I love that. Yeah, definitely. Yes, we might see her as well. Who knows? I'll let everyone know Saturday. I don't even think Boxer know what's going on because they're not promoting who's on properly at the minute. I don't know what's going on, so we'll find out Saturday. Right, been a pleasure as always.
Yeah, I was just going to briefly mention actually because we had a couple of other world title fights.
Yes.
So just briefly mentioning that Lourdes Juarez had a unanimous decision to retain her WBC World Superfly belt against Deborah Gomez. So she's had a title defense and won it. So that's great. And then also we had a world title belt exchange hands. So we saw a new champion. So it was, excuse me for my pronunciation because some of these names I apologize now. But it was Mio Yoshida versus Tamio Uzawa for the WBO World Super Flyweight title. And it was actually Tamio who won by split decision against the champion, Yoshida. So we've got a new champion there.
Nice. The boxing in Japan is becoming... There's a lot of dark horses there. They're not even dark horses. They're just not talked about, I suppose, enough. And it's similar to those who, I think when you're so far away, you're forgotten about in some way. Superfly is a nice little division. We've got some good Brits in Superfly who are looking for some world titles. So that could be a future opponent.
And that's the thing with the Japanese scene for female boxing. It's actually very big. The amount of times that I put on the schedule these all-female cards, when you think about how big a deal we make it when we get 3 or 4 females on a card over here, they do all the time. They have 6, 7, 8 on one card.
Yeah,
talks about it.
It's a shame, isn't it? Actually, and to be honest, I'm probably guilty as well. Like, I've not watched that fight yet. But then it comes down to like the commercial side as well, doesn't it? If you don't know it's on, you can't watch it, I suppose. And it is a shame because you know what? When you watch them, they're just unbelievable boxers. And again, you just feel like you're missing out, don't you? But it's even the same with like, Australia's far away. I know obviously we all watch that fight, the Kambosos Haney fight. But typically how many shows are in Australia? And then like, was it Shanika Johnson or someone fought the other week or month or whatever? And I didn't know until I think you posted on Twitter that they'd won, and I was like, I missed it. But no one promotes it, you don't know. And I think that's the unfortunate thing. When you're so far away, I genuinely think people just are forgotten about.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why I try to make an effort of making sure I keep an eye on the whole worldwide scene and don't become very blinkered to the big promotions.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why everyone always praises your weekly schedule, because I must say, if it wasn't for that, I genuinely wouldn't know what's going on. I don't even know what's going on. I'm going to a show next week, so I don't know what's going on around the world.
Yeah, I try and pay painstakingly go through box rec, and then obviously try and go through, you know, who I follow on Instagram to make sure I don't miss fights. I mean, I obviously miss some fights, and especially places like South America, Argentina, Mexico. Quite often fights aren't on box rec, so they get missed. But obviously I try my hardest to go through some of them, because it's such a shame to not have a list somewhere to know exactly what's going on.
You know what? We need to do it, don't we? Create our own version of box rec with every female fight, because I mean, I you know, praises to you for doing it, because I couldn't sit and go through box rec and look at them all, because it would drive me mad. But like you said, they missed off 2 fights this weekend in London are missed off. So that happens the majority of shows. I feel like there's either sometimes there's a wrong opponent, because maybe there's been a change or whatever. Sometimes they're just not on. So you can't get every fight. It's impossible, isn't it?
But obviously, if there's fighters out there and I miss them, just message me, ping me a fight poster. I'll do a post about it, because sometimes that's what happens. The actual fight, give me a post and say, "Hey, I'm fighting," and what I'll do is I'll say missed from the schedule.
Yeah,
put out a post, because you know we want to know about every fight.
Yeah, that's it. And that's a little bit like the magazine, obviously, that we're doing as well. It is about like not just about the British scene or like the American scene. Because I think it's quite easy, isn't it? Sometimes I think I'm the worst for it. I think sometimes just with the British fights are the first ones I think of, because that's what like we see more.
Yeah.
But it's just like, that's the great thing about boxing. It's all around the world. And all around the world, it's at the exact same high level that it is here. Just need to see and hear about it more. Because then you get all these people who like come onto the scene. It's like they've been boxing for years. We just haven't seen them. They haven't just appeared overnight.
That's it. Definitely.
Before we go, actually, I do just want to mention, because I spoke about Australia being so far away. Ebony Bridges moving to the UK.
Yeah.
Unbelievable decision. Props to her, because it's what sets successful people apart. I always say, if you're willing to do what others won't do, that's what, you know, you stand out, don't you? At the end of the day, that's what makes you a success. Yeah. So she's left Australia to come to this country with the rubbish weather. Fair enough. Fair enough.
But hey, she's been so brave. I mean, you know, during COVID, to come across and get basically stuck over here, because she
was only meant to be here for a few weeks, wasn't she?
Yeah. I mean, she came over for obviously the Courtney fight, not knowing she'll ever be able to go back to Australia. Like I said, she got stuck here. Then she wasn't able to travel to America because of COVID rules. So then she had to go to Mexico for a couple of weeks, which was actually turned out to be very good, because she got to spar with Mariana.
Yeah, she got good sparring,
So that was great. And then to America, and then back to the UK, all the while not knowing what was going to happen next, when she was going to see a family next, when she was going to see a boyfriend next. So I feel like all the way along the line, she's just sacrificed so much for boxing. And it drives me mad when people say she doesn't take the sport seriously, when, you know, she's taken all these decisions just for boxing. She has turned her life upside down. And again, by moving here now, if people don't see how seriously they take it, they're never going to see it.
No. Those people that go, she doesn't take it serious, I honestly don't think would even move from one bedroom to the other, let alone from one country, not even one country. You're literally talking about the other side of the world. It's not even like you can pop on a plane and you're going from the UK to Spain. It's a couple of hours. This is, you know, a huge decision, but it's where boxing is, you know. If you want to be great, this is where you've got to come, isn't it? At the end of the day, this is where, especially for women's boxing, I don't think there's any other option but to come to the UK. So how exciting times. But and it made sense. I know she said about obviously the back and forth. It's like, you know, it must be tough consistency wise, like keeping up with the training and things like that. You know, the decision makes sense. But and I mean, I suppose you know more than me, but like I can't even imagine it was necessarily a hard decision, because she's got that mentality of, I'm just going to go and be the best. So if this is what I have to do, then I'll just do it. Yeah.
I mean, that's it. At the end of the day, Ebony is somebody who, if she wants it, she's all in.
Yeah.
She gives, if she wants to do something, she gives it 1,000%. She'll take every opportunity. She will give it all. So like you said, ways it's easy because this is what she wants, so she's going for it full force. But equally, she has left a whole life behind, and she adores teaching. You know, she that is an equal passion of hers, and she's obviously had to leave that behind. Her family, everyone. You know, it's still a massive thing, even when she knows she wants the boxing so much.
Yeah, I think the decision would have been easy, but I imagine getting on that plane when she's come back was not easy, and I'm sure sure with that side of it's obviously incredibly difficult. But when she's reaping the rewards, I'm sure she'll go, thank God I've done it. So really excited for her. Did you speak to Eddie at all about when we might see Ebony Bridges back out?
Yeah, so he was saying hopefully August for a defence, and then he hopes to get her back out before the end of the year to unify. So that's going to be an exciting time, because obviously we need to know who the defence is going to be, and then who's going to be, who's she going to unify against, because there's some, it's going to be some great matchups, isn't there?
Any of the champions, it's a great fight. Any of them. Again, that's a great division right at the top end. That division, all them champions make great fights. I know people are still saying about the Shannon Courtney rematch. Obviously, Shannon's gonna have to come. Yeah, I think she wants like an 8-rounder. Wants the rematch against Jamie. So we'll see if that all comes within time. But
yeah,
I'm not sure about that one anyway. But I'd like to see Ebony Jamie Mitchell.
Yeah,
I want to see that more than I want to see Shannon Courtney, Ebony Bridges.
It would be an interesting fight because of the whole Shannon Courtney getting beaten by Jamie Mitchell, because it's that kind of like the triangle then,
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Because, that would definitely have a statement, wouldn't it? Ebony going there and beating Mitchell.
Yeah.
Then it makes that much more interesting, a rematch, if she was ever going to rematch Shannon Courtney down the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the fact. And I just think stylistically as well, I like to see that. The reason I don't want to see the Shannon fight too early is I don't want it to be like she comes back, she does an 8-rounder. Let's say she beats Jamie and then she rematches Ebony and gets beat, because I honestly feel like there'll be an excuse of, well, I've not long come back. The weight and thing's an issue for me with Shannon. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm actually overly ever bothered about seeing that fight again, as great as it was to watch. And I'm sure Ebony wants it in a way to obviously like right or wrong in theory. I'm sure she wants it. For me personally, if I never saw that fight again, I wouldn't be bothered, even though it was so entertaining. It was such a good scrap and I did love it. And I suppose I would love Ebony to right that wrong. I just think there's even bigger fights for Ebony that maybe not to sell, because I'm sure that fight with Shannon would sell because of what's happened, but I just think even bigger fights within just boxing, take away the business side of it. And I also don't know if Shannon would beat Jamie to get her title back, so I just feel like that fight could be quite far away.
Ebony's moved on, gone beyond it.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm just not, and even when I say, she wants to right or wrong, a loss is a loss. If it happens early in your career and you never fight them again, I don't think, when people are having these immediate rematch, when Kambosos has come out and said he wants to have this immediate rematch, but he didn't win a round, I'm not that bothered by that. So Ebony got beat. It was a close fight. She obviously had that picture's always my favorite, where she's got like the eye out here. That's happened in her career, and she's went on to do what she's done, and obviously Shannon's had issues. Just feel like, I don't know, they're just in different places, aren't they? So if I never saw that fight, I just don't think I'd be that bothered. I just believe there's more important, bigger fights for Ebony and her journey and than Shannon Courtney, in my opinion. But we'll see.
Well, it's doesn't look like it's on the radar anytime soon anyway, if it's the defence and the unification. So, yeah, if we do it, it's going to be a bit of a way off, I think, anyway.
Yeah. And I even think by then we might see, I don't think they'll be in the same weight division and things like that. So I don't think it's a fight we'll see. I'm sure, like I say, as a fan perspective, I'd like to see it again. But even then, it wouldn't be the fight it was anyway. I think they're just in different places now, that it wouldn't be as good of a fight as it was the first time. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm not that bothered by it. But I am excited, and I would love to see Ebony, Jamie Mitchell. That's the unification fight I'd love to see.
Yeah,
big fight anywhere in the UK. I know Jamie Mitchell's quite keen on coming back to the UK. I'd love that. That's my one for that division, definitely. Message Ebony now. Tell her. Put it down. Text
They
Eddie.
Sasha won.
Right,
Yeah,
being a
happy again. Should just help fight anyone.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's no question. Like Ebony, and she obviously, I'm sure she wants to become undisputed, so she'll just knock each champion off as they come. I'm sure that's her plan. Selfishly, that's the fight I want to see. So if you bump into Eddie again, we'll try and get that.
Yeah, I'll tell him as Sasha says. Bye.
In the UK, I can't keep traveling too far.
Liverpool as well? Or...
Ideally, yeah. The 5 minute up the road. I'll just give you the rest of the card that I want on as well. While we're there, I'll just sort it out. Right, been a pleasure as always. So we'll be back next week. We'll see how these 3 fights in London play out. I'm sure there's loads more fights as well that we can talk about.
We'll have fun on Saturday. I'll be watching on TV, so enjoy seeing them live, and I look forward to your content.
I can't wait.
See